Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. We're going to start our class today, continue on lecture from last week. Today we're going to discuss on the importance of the industrial sector. We know the four activities that we consider industry. Number one, manufacturing, mining and quarrying, construction, and the other one is utilities, water, gas, and the other one. Okay. Source of production of goods and services. Number one, the importance of industry. Source of production and of goods and services for basic domestic needs. Job opportunities, create more jobs and overcome unemployment because of large multiplier effect. Large multiplier, multiply, you know. That's one of the main advantages of industry. It's got large multiply effects. Through what? Through backward linkages. Not so much of forward linkages, but backward linkages. The more cars are sold, the more tires on that car, the more rubber needed. Theoretically, the happier rubber tapper, according to theory. But reality is different because they are middle. So, generating incomes with industries, there's higher amount of production that will generate income, that will generate, fund for capital and investment and further investment. Technology transfer and innovation. Because through industries, one of the characteristics of industries is content of technology. So we define all these, the four activities because of one of them, because of requiring technology. And as a result, when there's an activity is requiring technology, and what else? What more if it's high tech will generate this technology transfer and innovation. That's why this can come through foreign direct investment that comes in. So we hope from that foreign direct investment not only providing jobs to the local workers, but also generate technology transfer, and that will stimulate innovation. Expansion of the export sector. Example, Malaysia export semiconductor. If you look at manufactured goods export of Malaysia, you can look at it through SITC. I'm going to tell you what SITC is. Standard International Trade Classification. It's like address type. It's like zip code or postcode. 3 is Selangor, 6 Hulu Langat, 0 Bangi, 00 and so on. 3600. 5 digits, the postcode. Similarly, products can be classified according to SITC at first digit, second digit, 3 digit, 4 digit. But already at 3 digit, you can really decipher and identify products at 3 digit. At first digit, not really, because it's all under one main category. Exports of Malaysia, the main export of Malaysia, manufactured goods, within manufactured goods, and the main export of Malaysia, I can say, according to the industry, is semiconductor, SITC 776. SITC 776, this machinery, and then this is semiconductor. I'm going to tell you more about that. International trade, there is positive correlation between international trade and economic growth. In fact, the graph that I'm going to show you, is it coming in this slide? Yes, it's going to come. There is a positive relationship. The more trade, the faster economic growth. So, questions comes up, which one is first? It's like an egg and chicken question. Is it egg first or chicken first? But according to which one? Nobody can tell, right? Well, if you look at chicken as a trade, well, actually, is it international trade or economic growth? Both ways they are having a positive impact on another. When there's good economic growth, people will buy more products. The products can come from outside, more imports. And when the economic growth is good, companies will produce more and some of it will be exported. So international trade will increase because of economic growth. At the same time, economic growth international trade will spur economic growth. International trade, the more international trade, the faster economic growth. And which one is more likely true? Which one? Is it, if I can draw this here. Can someone get me the eraser? Is it international trade or economic growth? Or is it economic growth? International trade? Which one? Let me ask someone. Siti Khadijah, what do you think? Which one is more likely? Good, fast, good amount, very rapid growth in international trade will lead to greater economic growth. Or the other way, greater economic growth will lead to more international trade. Which one do you believe? Second one? Economic growth will lead to international trade. What about Haris? Haris? Yes. Yes. First one, international trade. Rapid growth in international trade will lead to rapid growth in economic growth. What about whole? Which one? First one. International trade lead to economic growth. Okay. According to studies, empirical studies, the first one. Rapid growth in international trade, good growth in international trading, happening all over the world, of course, we want that. High growth of international trade will lead to higher economic growth because trade is an engine of growth. trade as an engine of economic growth. Even though the other way around also true, but it's even more true, trade as an engine of growth. The first one. And now we continue concept of international business, concept. All commercial transactions. So we've done with industry, international trade, and now business. All commercial transactions, all cross-border transaction, international business. International because cross-border, that's all. And international trade is a subset of international business. International trade, yeah? Import and export, a subset of international business. Because international business can be trade, can be investment across the border. So all business. So international trade is part of business, international business. Main activities: import and export, foreign direct investment, and portfolio investment. So now, what is the difference between, I'm reversing back, what is the difference between foreign direct investment and portfolio investment? Can I ask who? I'm not yet familiar, this is our second class. I'm not yet familiar with the name, I mean. Yes. What is, because you look at the notes. I'm reversing, not showing the note. So what is the difference between foreign direct investment and portfolio investment? Yeah, don't look at the note.
I think the portfolio is inside the country and the foreign is outside.
Don't look at the note, next line. What is the difference between, FDI and portfolio investment? Please, someone check my YouTube. Is it okay? The sound? It's okay. So, what is the difference between foreign direct investment and portfolio investment? Okay. Anyone want to try? Can you call the boss of AirAsia simply because you purchase stocks, shares of AirAsia? Can you call, hello, Tony Fernandez, you must do this, do this, do this. Who are you? Well, I bought your shares, AirAsia share. So that's a clue to answer the question. The difference between foreign direct investment and portfolio investment. Anyone want to try? Quickly. Anyone? Yes.
Portfolio is like purchasing stocks or services, and FDI is like purchasing the business.
Oh yeah, almost. Okay, let me give the answer. The key to the difference is control. So, control that comes with how many percent you have equity. See, portfolio investment, you buy shares of the company or the stock market, but you are minority just like everyone else. Unless, like on October 27, this last month, October 27, Elon Musk became the owner of Twitter because he bought sizable amount of shares of Twitter. So he's now the owner of Twitter since October 27 October. I think last week, yeah, or 2 weeks ago. Unless you do that, you become the boss of Asia. Well, that's not the complete definition yet. Foreign direct investment is you call the shot. You make decisions of the day-to-day operation of the company. You decide. You are the decision maker. You are the boss. Because directly you're making the investment. Nothing to do with F. Nothing special or magic about F as it's foreign. When you do that investment, cross the border and becomes foreign direct investment. But if you do that investment directly, you, the owner, the owner can be your own by yourself, can be joint venture, but you are the majority holder of the shares. So you are doing you are doing direct investment, either here domestically or in foreign country. So foreign country is foreign direct investment. So the key is control. You have the control of the company. Like just now, I'm making an example. You cannot call the boss of Asia and tell him to do this. You do not have the control. You only buy, number of shares of Asia, right? You cannot call the boss of Sony. Hello, you must do this. Or Proton Saga, or Proton. Simply because you just buy shares of Proton, no. You must have the control. In order to have a control, if there's 2%, at least 51%. You are the boss, 51%. If it's joint venture, there are other, numbers. But we don't care what numbers are, how many percent, 30% or whatever percent. But when you have the control, you are the boss. You make decision. And so that's a direct investment. Direct investment can be what I'm saying. This can be a new one. You go to Indonesia, you open a factory by yourself, or joint venture with an Indonesian local. Him 49, you 51, but you're the director. He's the you are the president. He's gonna be the vice president because you are more, even 1% more already. That's a new one. Already available. Not already one. Already available. Same. We can call it direct investment. The moment that you are directly involved in the decision making, that's the point. When you directly involved in the decision making of the day-to-day operation, day-to-day. Yesterday, today, next, tomorrow, you make the decision directly, you are in control. That's direct investment, whether domestically or in foreign country. That's the FDI. So in our context, these are international business, not only import and export, but also investment. And investment are divided into two types. You follow me now? Foreign direct investment, because we're talking about international business, okay? I can just take out this foreign. Yeah. So foreign direct investment or portfolio investment, that you purchase stocks in Tokyo, in Hong Kong, in another country, in Singapore. The rest is others, consultancy, you give in services internationally, licensing, franchising, management contracts, etc. So next, importance of international business. Firms attain economies of scale. Economies of scale. The larger production of sale, the lower average cost. For example, you want to order something for makan-makan. The caterer will ask you, how many do you want to order? 20. No, I'm not taking 20. You want to order with me 200 minimum. The size, because cost is cheaper for him. Average cost. So when economies of scale, I wish I can draw this like this. Okay. Average cost. This is the cost, ringgit Malaysia. This is quantity. Small quantity, still cost is high. The more quantity, cost is lower. Up to a certain point, there's a inflection point. The more quantity, the cost goes up again, because could be inefficiency, tear and wear of the materials, and so on. So that's average cost. Economies of scale. Bigger global markets. Production can be executed faster and cheaper, more efficient. So why international business is important? Bigger global markets you can understand, but why this can be faster and cheaper? Because you are in network. Suppose you have a network, production network. You have an assembly of raw materials in China, in Indonesia, and then shipped to Vietnam or to China for processing, and then assemble in Malaysia. So you are having a network of your own production. Suppose you are vertical. That's vertical. We call it vertical integration. That from the raw materials, the intermediate, and the final, you own the company. That's vertical. But in business today, that doesn't have to be vertical. By outsourcing, you don't have to own the companies that is producing raw material. You don't have to own the company that's processing the raw materials. You don't have to own the company that's producing the components. You just import it. You just focus on what you best at. So that's what we call supply chain of not necessarily vertical integration. Supply chain. So because of that, can be cheaper, number one. But faster, it depends. The advantage of vertical integration, you decide. For example, company that's producing a furniture. Okay, you own a company, but it doesn't make sense today, really. Suppose you have a furniture company. Do you need to own a sawmill? No, no need. So today, vertical integration is not necessary anymore. Unless, for special case, you want to control the quality of the product, like diamond, or you may want to own the company that's mining the diamond in Africa. You even want to own the company that's processing it. And of course, you own your company, diamond company. So, meaning that it's very rare that we see today companies are having vertical integration. Vertical integration, you own every step of the process of, every step of the product life cycle, from raw materials, become processed, become intermediate products, and become final products. Not necessary. For example, Sony that makes TV does not need to own a factory that's making the metal and the plastic, right? No need. Unless special thing. Even today, rare earth is very important to go into making semiconductor, microchips, all this that goes into the computer. Rare earth. And China is one of the biggest supplier of rare earth. Australia also. That's what happened to in Malaysia. Gambang, where is it? Huh? Gambang or what? That processed the rare earth. There was a controversial issue because of pollution and that will. Is it Gambang? Gebeng, yes, Linus Gebeng. Rare earth from Australia. So the shipping here processed in Gebeng. So all this rich country, they care for themselves. They don't do it in their own country. Why not just process in Australia? Yeah, because of health risk, environmental risk, So Gebeng becomes the host of Linus. So rare earth. Do we need to own a rare earth to make microchips? No, just purchase. So unless certain commodity is very important, strategically important, or just now I gave the example of diamond, you want to control the quality of the diamond. Even the shipping, you want to own that company that ship diamond. The raw diamond. The management company that ships raw diamond. Maybe. However, less and less and less of vertical integration today. But still, the issue, the same remains. Whether vertical integration or not, today we are seeing the breakdown in the supply chain. Number one, because of the COVID-19 lockdown. Number two, because of international issue, war, for example, Ukraine and Russia and Ukraine, because Russia itself is a supplier of lots of many different raw materials, including oil. So, what did I do? The faster, yes, because you have a network of your companies. Sony, for example, there's Sony in Malaysia, there's Sony in other countries, there's Sony in United States, all with specialization. Sony in Malaysia today is on R&D. In the past, in the 1990s, Sony in Malaysia produces TV. Actually, Malaysia was number one exporter of TV. But of course not Malaysian TV, Sony and so on. But because of a high cost, labor cost in Malaysia, no more Sony here in Bandar Baru Bangi producing TV. Has become a research R&D center. After TV, there was a Blu-ray, what is this, you know, to play. No, not PlayStation, yeah, something, you know, to play movies. We'll talk about this later on, just doesn't come up to me, you know. And firms can improve their competitiveness through their network. Yes, once again, the same thing, through your network. And, you know, all these companies, international, multinational companies, they improve on their efficiency by assigning which location will focus on what. Today, here in Bangi is R&D, Sony R&D. In Vietnam, Sony manufacturing. And then the products will go to all over the world. The most important, this is the most important, access to advanced technology. So, international business, one of the most important reasons is not only market, but to get access to the latest technology. Here I define technology broadly. Technology could be technology, you know, technology, or whatever, you know, technology. Some technologies are, you can touch it. Some technologies you cannot touch it, right? But it's there. That's there inside there. I define here technology broadly, not only this, but also the new way of doing business through the use of more sophisticated materials and tools. I consider that also technology. New way of doing business through the use of latest technologies is also technology. Technology is not only material things. When I define broadly, technology is also new way of doing things, new way of doing business with the use of the latest advanced technologies that we have today. So, to do what? Product development. There's a product development and also process development. Product and process. Product is a product. You improve your products, better quality products. But also, there's also process development. The better way of you manufacture or assemble products. So we have process development and product development. You follow me? Process and product. But here I mention only product development. And large source of capital. That's why international business will allow you access to better or large amount of capital. If you're stuck with the domestic, you limit yourself. So there's large source of capital, better management. Yes, better management through your network of your company and subsidiaries. Yes, that's the word. Sometimes I don't get the word out. I want to say something I don't get it out. Yes, subsidiaries. When I say system, your network, yes, your headquarters and your subsidiaries, and companies, affiliates, and so on. Reduce competition and political risk. So, if it's too, the competition is very strong in one place, you can try another place, the greener pasture, that you can claim you are the first, and you're making inroads and getting the sizable share of the market. So if you just confine in one place in the country, you'll be stuck in the very stiff competition. But people always say, good, when you compete, there's always forcing you to innovate, to improve on your products and processes. So better management with international trade, and reduce competition and political risk. Risky here, you don't put eggs all in one basket, right? That's why important people in the company, they cannot fly in the same flight. Boss and second boss and all this. What happened if the airplane, crashed? The whole company gone. Even ministers, prime minister. Wow, that's different thing. They have this special jet. Because the president of the United States will fly in big airplane, right? So. But never president of the United States fly together with vice president. Never. What happened? The plane, crash. Number one and number two gone. So I'm just showing you an example of do not put all your eggs in one basket. That's why you do that to reduce political risk by having companies overseas, business overseas, international business. And next is to overcome, reduce impacts of trade barriers. And this happened long ago. I can tell you the story. In the 1980s, United States was having already twin deficit. Twin deficit. What is deficit? Lack or short, deficit. What is that twin deficit? Fiscal deficit and trade deficit. Fiscal, what is fiscal? It's got to do with government. Revenue and expenditure of government. That's fiscal. So trade deficit in the United States, fiscal deficit, government of the United States spend a lot of money for defense. During that time, 1945, the end of World War II, 45, the world became polarized. Bipolar. Bipolar. What is bi? Two polar. United States as a superpower against Soviet Union, another superpower at that time. After 1945, you follow me? End of World War II. That's why, because of the bipolar superpower rivalries, they rival each other, competing against each other to conquer that's what they will call the era of Cold War. Cold War. Cold War. The real war has already ended. But there is going to be many proxy wars. in many parts of the world, in Latin America, between the two superpower at that time, United States and Soviet Union, happened in Latin America, happened in Africa, happened in Eastern Europe, but mostly in Latin America, Nicaragua, Ecuador, all this. You know, she must know geography. If you want to study economics, want to study international business, you must know geography. It takes time for me. We have limited time, but anyway, I must do it. I think so bad that the education system does not give emphasis on geography. It's unfortunate. To the extent that I must show this, and it takes time. In our lecture, we have limited time only. Where is Latin America? Does anyone know Burkina Faso? No. My hobby is looking at maps. I enjoy looking at maps. Even globes. A globe, the real globe. My hobby. But there was that time, during that time, no internet. Nothing like today. Today, I'm talking about my hobby of 20, 30 years ago, looking at maps. Real map. No Google Map at the time. Real globe, you know, real globe. I would sit at my desk, this globe on my desk. I enjoy it. Make me not hungry, looking at maps. So Burkina Faso shows that I'm really a map lover. This is Burkina Faso. Just up south of Mali, just north of Ghana. I ask this because nobody would know unless, like me, who always look at the map. Sometimes I do that even today. I mean, I'm not saying today, nowadays. That's Burkina Faso in Africa. So, where is Latin America? Let me ask you, where is Latin America? United States. Yeah, this is Latin America. And this is North America. United States, Canada, North America. Sometimes people consider also Mexico. But NAFTA, NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreements, 3 countries, Canada, United States, and Mexico. NAFTA, N-A, North American Free Trade Agreements. They reduce import tariffs among these countries to facilitate trade among these countries. So, by that definition, NAFTA, Canada, United States, and Mexico. But when you talk about North America, it's actually Canada and United States only. Canada and the US. Mexico is not North America. It is Central America. So North America is here, Canada and United States, and this Central America. Central America, also known as the Caribbean, because the Caribbean Sea here. So the Caribbeans. But when you want to talk about Mexico, Mexico is not on the Caribbean, so that's why people use Central America, not Caribbeans, because Caribbean is only here: Cuba, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, all this. So this Central America, and finally South America. So we have North America, Central America, which includes the Caribbeans, you see this, all these little countries, and South America. But where is Latin America? Where is Latin America? Which one, Latin America? Where's Latin America? We say Latin, not Latin, not Latin, 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 Latin America. The whole thing is Latin America. And you notice, all these countries, when I was young, I went overseas, I thought each country would have own language. Mexican will speak Mexican, Guatemalan will speak Guatemalan, Nicaraguan will speak Nicaraguan, Argentinians will speak Argentinian language, Brazilians will speak Brazilian language. I thought that way. I was surprised. These people speak Spanish. The whole of this continent, I mean, from Central America and South America speak Spanish, except Brazil speak Portuguese. So that gives you the clue, the word Latin America. So I just want to repeat. Anyone else outside went to toilet? What I'm telling you now is not in the textbook, okay? And I will not ask you in the exam. This is for your knowledge that will carry good for you in all whatever you want to do. Latin America comes from that clue that I gave you. This speak Spanish. The whole, because I thought I met students from Ecuador, Venezuela, when I was studying. You speak Spanish? You're from Venezuela? I asked him. You speak Spanish? I thought you're speaking your Venezuelan language. Because that's the thinking of us coming from this country, you know, this area, that Malaysian will speak Malaysian language, Korean will speak Korean language, Chinese will speak Chinese language. So I was thinking that, no, they speak Spanish. Oh. And I met classmate from Brazil. He speak Portuguese. That's the clue. There. Where is Portuguese? From Portugal. Where's Spanish? From Spain. So that happened through, YouTube watches. Colonization. These people from Portugal go to Brazil and conquer Brazil and chase away all these the natives. Also from Spain, conquer the whole of even this Peru, chase away the natives to the Andes, the mountain of Andes. So that's Latin America, because the language of Spanish and Portuguese come from this area. Originally, this area of Latin. They have, they have this, their family language comes from this area. Greek, all this become branches into English. English itself comes from German language, English. So, English comes from German language. Spanish and Portuguese come from this area of Latin area, Greek, Italy, or branches out, So that's why the word Latin America. This. So done. I'm happy that I explained to you. That's why it's very important. Geography is important. Unfortunately, in Malaysia, it is not important. Yeah, I'm here. To overcome or reduce impacts of trade barriers, I can tell you the story. Let's go back to my story. In the 1980s, what I'm telling you, you may not find it readily available to read in the textbook. There's no textbook for this, what I'm saying, what I'm telling you. This is based from the knowledge and observations, and I lived through it at that time. So in 1980s, United States blamed Japan for all the difficulties in the trade deficit especially. But today, United States blame China. You see, my word today, I don't mean today, nowadays. So English, the word today in English doesn't mean today, nowadays. In 1980s, United States blamed Japan for the economic woes of United States. So at that time, United States had twin deficit. First deficit is fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit because of government. What is fiscal thing? Government revenue versus government expenditure. So the tax, when Reagan came in power, one of the things that Reagan do was the deregulations. So it becomes Reaganomics. At that time, Reagan and Thatcher. The UK at the time, Prime Minister was Margaret Thatcher. United States, Ronald Reagan, President. So in the newspaper, on magazine, you can read Reaganomics. You can read about Thatcherism. A lady, Prime Minister lady, Margaret Thatcher. So the two were known for deregulation, less of regulation. With that, companies take off, and also tax cuts. So the government revenue is already decreasing. But at the same time, yes, go back to what I said. After 45, the Cold War, rivalry with Soviet Union and United States, the Star Wars, everything, not only rivalry on the land, on the ground, that comes into what? Assassination of leaders in the third world, especially Latin America. Now, I remember how I got to the map to tell you where Latin America is. There, the war in Nicaragua, the war in Ecuador, the proxy war. The proxy war, the war in Nicaragua, the war in Ecuador, 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 the war in Nicaragua, 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 the war in Ni that become a civil war. Not the Americans are fighting the Ecuadorian. Ecuadorian themselves fighting among each other. That's what we call civil war. But the master is somewhere else, in Washington. The master, Washington and Moscow, Soviet Union. You fight, you know, because they want to control the influence, to gain the influence. So proxy war, that's what we call proxy war. They will support this. Soviet Union will support the Marxists. America will support the other one, that, you know. So, and also assassination, that happened a lot in Soviet Union, in Latin America. So whoever watching on YouTube, not happy with what I'm saying, but that's the truth. Okay, I'm explaining to you why fiscal deficit. Tax cut, revenue goes down, but you spend a lot of money because of what? Cold War. Against whom? Against Soviet Union, including the Star Wars, development of intercontinental ballistic missile, you know, missile. They spend a lot of money on that missile so that they can launch the missile, just like North Korea today. North Korea, you know, doing the same thing. So all this, and also go to the moon, go to the, you know, to Mars, whatever the space program is not simply just for the science. It is for Cold War supremacy. Do you understand? Do you think that the United States goes to, to the sky, you know, the Apollo, whatever, you know, the rockets, you know, is it for science? Yes, but also for supremacy in the context of Cold War. But today, in new context, still, that national interest is. But even though I say that there's an international space station, there's cooperation among the countries, that's different thing. So, another deficit is trade deficit. Takes me so long to tell you about this thing only. Trade barriers. I want to tell you about a city or a town in the United States, Smyrna. And what's the other one? I forgot. That was 1980s. Because of that. Go back. How Honda takes me so long. Because number one, you're lacking geography. Number two, you're lacking history. Why Honda in Ohio? Because of this. To overcome trade barriers. Honda opened a factory in Ohio. And Toyota opened a factory in Tennessee. Smyrna, Tennessee. In 1980s, I mentioned what? Honda and Toyota, Japanese companies. Because in 1980s, trade deficit, which is part of the twin deficit. I mentioned to you what? Twin deficit. Fiscal, nothing to do with people, nothing to do with Japanese. Fiscal is the doing of government of United States, okay? I explained to you because of Cold War, they spend a lot of money, you know, because of Cold War. And then, so deficit, that one. Trade deficit, lots of products imported from Japan. Okay? So, but everything, economic difficulties in the United States, in 1980s, Americans would blame on Japan, because of you, Japan. So, This is a side story, but important one. Plaza Accord, which I will explain later. Plaza Accord in 1985. Okay, later on. So what happened when the United States blamed Japan for its twin deficit, even though Japanese are only responsible for not the fiscal, responsible for the trade deficit only. So American government imposed a lot of tariffs on products coming from Japan, especially automobiles. Increase the, import duty. Tariffs. What is tariff? You pay something, right? Duty. We don't call it tax. Tax is your income, tax. You import a product, you buy product from overseas, we don't call it tax, we call it duty. Import duty. You see the difference? Tax is on income, tax. Import, tax on import is not tax, it is import duty. Because tax is direct, your income. Import duty is indirect. If you don't import, that doesn't happen. You don't import a thing. Doesn't happen to you, right? You pay only when you import. That's why, when you import, that's why it is indirect tax. So, high barrier put by American government on Japanese car. As a result, to overcome that barriers, Toyota went to Tennessee. Where is Tennessee? This is Tennessee. Nashville. You know Nashville? Elvis, Nashville. This is Tennessee. This is this is the capital, Washington, District of Columbia, DC. This is District of Columbia, which is, they carve out one district, taking from Virginia, this Maryland, Virginia, and Delaware, the three states, they carve out one district, becomes Washington, District of Columbia as capital. But the business center is New York. New York here. So Tennessee. Toyota went there to Smyrna. I don't know where Smyrna, somewhere here. And Honda went to Ohio, here, Ohio, to manufacture Toyota, Honda, made in USA, Honda, made in USA, Toyota. So why you're complaining? This is Toyota made in USA, not Toyota made in Japan. This is Honda made in Ohio, United States, in America, not Honda made in Japan. So that's so you see, my story is very, very long, just to tell you just one simple line, one line of. So that's why in class, you have to be ready about information. Number one, concept. Number two, all the other things. These are the things that you will not find in textbook. There's no book telling you like this. But it's from my experience, from my knowledge, from my living, going through that. I can tell you, from that. So, what time is it? I should have a watch for myself. 2:50. 3:15. 50. Okay, 3:50. Okay, maybe we take a break after this, but finish this line. So, that was 1980s. I don't know how to deliver to you the importance of what the stories I'm telling you. Even though I will not ask you in the exam. I will not ask you, okay, who America blame in the 80s? Japan. Who America blame in today? China. I will not ask you that, but having that knowledge is very important for you. Until you work. But today, number 2 economy in the world today is China. Taken over Germany. It was United States, Germany, China, Italy. But now, United States, China, Japan. Japan. In the past, it was US, Germany, Japan, and Italy. That was 1980s. And then 1990s, in the year 2000s, okay? United States, Germany, Japan and China. But in the 2020s, United States, I said Japan first, China first. China already came in the 2000s. United States, Germany, China, Japan. Okay, in the 2000s, early 2000s. United States, the size of the economy, okay? United States, Germany, China, Japan. But in the last 2-3 years, maybe 4 years already, don't take my words, okay? We have to check what year actually. But safe for me to say in the last 3 years, okay? Number 1, USA, the size. Number 2, China. Number 3, Germany. Number 4, Japan. So that's why China has been known as the factory of the world. Any products here, made in China, made in China, made in China, made in China. Everything made in China, made in China. So as a result, United States no longer blame Japan, blame China. And we're seeing today that has turned out into a rivalry between America and China. That's why Huawei is banned in the US. Huawei. America consider China as a threat to America. That's why not only blaming China today, but also looking at China as a enemy. Whoever watching on my YouTube, I'm just using my rough, language. I don't mean enemy, but really, especially in the high-tech sector, microchips, already America tried to conjure up together US, Japan, and Korea into the so-called 3-country microchips alliance. excluding China, to develop, not only to develop, but also to have the control on the supply chain, supply chain of materials pertaining to the production and development of microchips, to the extent that rivalry between America and China in whatever sector, especially the high tech, because high technology will become very, very sensitive, sector for any country today and in the future. Whoever controls technology, they become superpower. Okay? Where am I? Yeah. To overcome or reduce impacts of trade barriers. Why trade barriers? As I explained to you, countries want to shut down, it's not really shutting, to put the high barrier, to raise the barriers through higher tariffs, import tariffs, in order to protect local manufacturing or services industries or domestic, companies, basically, in general. So, we take a break.
Doctor, I think the phone needs to charge, right?
Okay, thank you. Okay, you can take a break, 5 minutes. I wanna. Can you appreciate the importance of history and geography now? People think that geography and history not important, right? But geography and history is important. I can tell you, in my class, I just wanted to explain just one last line. Just now, to overcome or reduce impacts of trade barriers. I could bring back the story of 1980s. Well, I forgot that 1985, the Plaza Accord, which I will explain after the break. To complete the story of US blaming Japan for its economic difficulties in the 1980s. that led to the Plaza Accord of 1985. And that Plaza Accord has an impact on Malaysia. Next.
I like history and geography, but the thing is, what I don't like is they're like having a test, so it stresses me out.
Can I show you? You can repeat that one.
Oh, repeat it.
Yeah.
I like history and geography, but the problem is I don't like how they like to test it in exams, so it stresses me out.
The subject is important and can be interesting,
Yes.
but the question on the exam is not really helping. Anyone else want to comment? Okay. So we are not still on break. There's a fair and honest opinion. So what we have today is just occupying the time that we're on break. Look at this, 2005, FinTech, MIT Technology Review already talking about technology in finance. That's what we call FinTech. That was 2005, before the word blockchain. So now we have blockchain, it's part of the technology in finance, so FinTech, already 2005. This is for international viewers as well. This, the latest, this is July, August this year, the death of smart city. So I read it. Are you saying that those cities in the past were not smart? But, by definition, smart city is, focus on efficiency. So perhaps we are lacking humanities. You want to be efficient in everything, but you are denying humanities. You're denying social interactions. And this one, September and October this year, this is the latest issue. Beyond the binary. What is binary? 0 and 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Computer is based on binary. 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Yeah. That's why Y2K. Y2K bug. So many of you still on break. So I don't want to mention much because those outside will miss my story. Because if you want to get this knowledge, you have to find from many, many readings. From this magazine, from that magazine. What is Y2K bug? Y2K, year 2000. Y2K. Okay, please call. Already 5 minutes. We're lacking of time. Come on, let's go. Let's start. Call them. Many more. Give me the blockchain. I think that's our cover. Oh, this is what Facebook knows. There was issue 2012. Oh no, not here. I didn't bring it. Please, I want to start now. Go one more time. Grab them. Bring the food in. We don't have much time. So you shouldn't be eating, right? I mean, this is a small break only for you to, 5 minutes only. Not for you to eat. 2 more, 1 more. Go get him. Call him. Eat inside. Okay, if you are having just simple snacks, don't worry, bring it in, snacks. If you have nasi lemak, of course no. But if you have snacks, just eat in the class, because we don't have time. So many things I want to impart to you, not in the textbook. You don't find it in the textbook. Of course, I will not ask you. When I tell you certain things, I will tell you, not in the exam. Make it simple for you. Okay. I mentioned to complete what I was telling you. In 1980s, United States blamed Japan for the trade deficit. And then came the Koreans in 1985. There was a newspaper article in a magazine which I share on my Facebook. So this is my profile. So you can as connection with me. I mean, friend. That's my profile. But I want to go to my page. My page here, because I shared that from previously, the memory. See, fighting, rivalry, right? So it's not my drawing, it's the magazine's drawing. That's fighting today. So in 1980s, America and Japan. But today, America and China. Here, this. The Koreans are coming. Business Week. December 23rd, 1985. Photocopied at MIT Dewey Library, 1988. Photocopied this in 1988. The Koreans are coming. Why I do this? To prove to you it is physical. Physical item. Why I'm doing this, you know? It's like you're flipping. That's the reason. Proving. A proof. Koreans are coming. So Korea bets on future on export drive aimed at the US. With this car, Hyundai Excel 4949. Advertised on TV. Cars, Hyundai cars that make sense. That's the advertisement of the Hyundai Excel at the time. This Hyundai, in Korea was known as Pony, P-O-N-Y. Goes into the United States, Excel, E-X-C-E-L, Excel, E-X-C-E-L, Excel, 4949, the price. Cars that make sense. Hyundai, cars that make sense. 4949, the price. $4,949. So, South Korea price edge over Japan. All this. This is video cassette recorder. Video cassette recorder. Before the DVD player. Now, yeah, after the Sony, I forgot to mention the word. Okay? You know, sometimes I don't get it out. Sony in Bangi, in Shah Alam, produced TV. Malaysia became exporter #1 in the world of color TV. That was in 1980s because of Sony, Panasonic, all here. And then, no more. The cost of production in Malaysia, because of lack of labor, so cannot produce, not competitive to produce TV in Malaysia. That's why Sony in Bangi has become R&D center. Yeah, before that, produced DVD player. Okay, this is the technology. This I would talk about this later, okay? So, this is a company, Hyundai company. This is Samsung, the founder. This is Lucky Gold Star, LG today, LG. This Daewoo. I shook hands with him. He passed away already. That was the closest. He gave a seminar, so I shook him. I can claim that I shook his hand. That's all. He doesn't know me. So, Korea at that time. So, what I'm saying now, finish with that. blaming Japan for the trade deficit, and suddenly came so-called the next Japan, Korea, with the cars. That was 1985, cars excel. Why car? Export of car is symbolic as a technology product. Not only cars, the TV, video cassette player, VCR, video cassette recorder and player, electronics, the appliances. So that culminated with, greater deficit. And finally, 1985, the G5 meeting. Today we have G7, the major industrial countries and, powerful countries, G7. In the past, G5, they met at a hotel in New York City. The name is Plaza Hotel. So, United States pushed Japan. Because of you, Japan, I'm just making a drama, okay? Because of you, we have large trade deficit. Our deficit is big, huge. I don't know the amount, okay? But huge deficit. Because of you, Japan, you must increase the value of yen. So that was the thing happened at Plaza Accord. I'm doing the drama, okay? But not exactly that way. I'm just making a drama. You must increase your value of the yen. So as a result of that, the meeting of G5 countries in New York City, Plaza Hotel, value of yen went up from, I don't remember, from 110 becomes under 100, 99 or 95, like that, yen per dollar. So, because under pressure by the US government, you must increase your value of your yen so that we can control our trade deficit. When value of yen increases, the price of Japanese product increases, right? That can reduce the import. So as a result of the Plaza Accord, we saw yen went up, the value of yen. And I'm sharing to you something not in the textbook. Malaysia benefited from the Plaza Accord. How? Suddenly, Japan with huge trade surplus. What is surplus? Positive. Yeah. Suddenly, Japan becomes so rich. You know what happened? Japanese company, Sony, bought Columbia Pictures. You know Columbia Pictures, the one that make movie. One of the companies that make movie in the United States, Columbia Pictures. Sony bought Columbia Pictures. It shows to you that Japanese suddenly became rich because the value of yen went up and was looking at other countries to invest. They look at the map, of course not the map. Why to invest my money? I have a lot of money to invest. Not Vietnam, not Cambodia, not Indonesia, not Thailand, not Philippines, earthquake, typhoon. Malaysia. Malaysia became the darling of Japanese investors because of, number one, stability. No war, no nothing, stable. Malaysia, a stable country at that time. Very stable. No earthquake, no typhoon, good infrastructure, good civil service, left by the British, the system, civil service system, inherited from the British and so on. Good. So Malaysia became the darling of Japanese investors. Where to invest? Malaysia. That's why Sony, so many companies from Japan that came, especially after the Plaza Accord of 1985. I forgot to mention to you the year. 1985, Plaza Accord. No one really is talking like this. I'm telling you, Malaysia benefited from the Plaza Accord because Japanese suddenly have a lot of money. Where to invest? Malaysia turn out, or what do you call this? Stand out to be a good location because of political stability, because of social stability. Even though three races, Malay, Indian, Chinese, Indian, but they live peacefully in harmony. And no natural disaster like other countries, earthquake, no typhoon, no. So, as a result, Malaysia in 1985, I'm extending my story, okay? I will not ask you in the exam. Malaysia in 1985 had a recession, minus 1.5%. That recession because of the collapse of commodity prices. What is commodity? Rubber or this, commodities. Collapse of, prices of which Malaysia was dependent on as export. Malaysia used to export rubber, dependent on rubber, dependent on earlier on tin, biji tin, tin, rubber and so on. Prices of commodities collapsed. As a result, Malaysia went into recession, 1.5% negative in 1985. Suddenly, 1985 also, Plaza Accord. Japanese want to invest. Oh, Malaysia. So, that Plaza Accord, Japanese coming to Malaysia to invest, including Dr. Mahathir's Look East policy. When he became Prime Minister in 1981, 1983, he embarked on Look East policy to learn the work ethic and work culture of Korea and Japan and Korea. These two countries, Look East policy, Japan and Korea. So with that, all this, the Japanese were coming. As a result, Malaysia had a golden years. 85 not yet recession. 86 just come out from recession. 87 until 1997, Malaysia had its golden years economic growth of over 10 years. Partly because of investment from Japan, because of the Plaza Accord. So you learn something today, right? Perhaps other lecturers do not have this information. So, why 1997? That golden years stopped. Because of the East Asian financial crisis of 1997-98. See the history? Malaysia 85 recession, 86 just came out. Suddenly stopped in 1997 because of the East Asian currency crisis, or we call it East Asian financial crisis, with Thai baht dropping in value because of the flight of hot money, and that spread, contagious, contagious, merebak. All this until the four countries, Thailand borrow from MF, Indonesia, Korea borrow from us, Malaysia was doing the Frank Sinatra way. Frank Sinatra, the song, I do my way, my own way. So azan. لا حول ولا قوة. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة. Okay. It's nice if I take the time to Google to you what is Plaza Accord. I'm always not satisfied if I'm talking without the slide. But anyhow, let's do it. We'll continue the rest online, but we finish until 5 today. I mean, I'm not happy. See, this is attributes of a teacher. You want to give. Not happy if you don't give it. Now I'm giving. This Plaza Accord. Currency thing. Let's go to maybe Wiki. 85. Was joint agreement signed on September 22, 85 at the Plaza Hotel in New York City between France, Germany, Japan. Look at this. West Germany at that time. Because not yet the collapse of the Berlin Wall. There's another history that I must explain to you. Not in the, West Germany. East Germany was still communist and socialist. Not yet the unification. Because 1989 was the most important year. 1989, the most important year in the history, economic history of the world. With the collapse of the Berlin Wall. That led to, number one, the collapse of, long story to go, the collapse of Soviet Union. No more Soviet Union in 1991. The story began in 1989. Began in Romania. The demand for democracy in Romania, one of the countries in Eastern Europe. This is Romania. Happened here. Spread Romania to Czechoslovakia. This is Czechoslovakia at that time, not Czech and Slovakia. One country, Czechoslovakia, spread to Poland. And finally, to Berlin, demand for democracy. Berlin has a wall called Berlin Wall, divided symbolically, not only symbolically, really. Yes, symbolic, but also really, really. The Berlin Wall. On the left is West Germany, economically market-oriented, politically Western democracy. On the right, East Germany, Berlin cut in half by the wall. East Germany, economically is socialism, politically communist, and with the influence of here, Moscow, Soviet Union, capital of Soviet Union. And that spread. The story is long until finally 1991, one by one. I know I want to tell you the story, but it's too long because there's figures here. Romania, Ceausescu was killed and dragged behind the truck in the winter. And they left, didn't finish the dinner. I mean, I saw pictures, dinner, food not yet touched. They left, run away from the palace because people came out to the street, to the palace, to demand for democracy. That was 1989. And together with advances in what? Satellite TV technology at that time. What? CNN that we have today, cable news network, was instrumental to relay the news. In the past, before satellite TV communication technology, the soldiers can brrr, they come to the street, the soldiers will do brrr, all die, and nobody knows. But because of new technology at that time, 1989, satellite TV technology, the soldiers cannot do that anymore. News, as soon as something happened, 1 minute later, news will spread all over the world and condemnation by the rest of the world. So that's why technology also played a role in this revolution in Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe. Where is Eastern Europe? Berlin here. West Germany. This is East Germany. East Germany. Go down here, maybe here, and then Czechoslovakia is Eastern Europe, except Austria, not Eastern Europe, because Austria is independent. I mean, what do you call, not independent, what do you call this? Not taking sides. Sometimes I don't get the word out. Neutral, not taking side. So, but Slovenia, Russia, all this. This is Eastern Europe. All here. This is Eastern Europe, including Romania, all this. Ukraine. I mean, no. Take it back. This is Soviet Union. From here, Latvia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus. Okay, this is Soviet Union. I don't want that. Soviet Union here. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, also Soviet Union, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, all this Soviet Union, until all the way to here, Soviet Union. But because of revolution, the demand for democracy, that spread to the whole of Eastern Europe, spread to Poland, saying that Lech Walesa, I don't have time to Google him. Lech Walesa was the chief of the trade union for workers on the Gdansk port. See, why I'm telling this? Because I was watching on TV. At that time, I was already an adult in 1980, 85, 89. So my hobby was watching news. And at the time, we had to be in front of TV. Of course, not here, not in Malaysia. I wasn't in Malaysia. So, and then saw this, a playwright became president of Czech Republic. Slovakia became a new country. All this. And finally, one by one, Estonia declared independence from Soviet Union. Latvia, Lithuania, Ukraine declared we are independent. And all these countries, the Tantan countries, the Muslim countries, Uzbekistan was the first to declare independence from Soviet Union. I don't know which one, but first Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, I don't know, maybe Kazakhstan second, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, all became independent and finally collapsed. The man responsible for that was Gorbachev, Michael Gorbachev. No time for me, but I have to Google him to show you the man with the map on the here, Gorbachev. It's okay, today we take time for history, okay? He passed away about maybe 1 year ago. The man with the map on the top. He's the map. The man with the map. I call him the man with the map. Map. He was responsible for two things in Soviet Union. Perestroika, restructuring. Glasnost, you know glass, a cup, glass. Clear, right? Transparency. Glasnost, transparency, and perestroika, restructuring. Oh, not image. Okay. We go for history today. We continue the rest in our lecture. So this, he passed away December 9th. Oh, no, that one. This is in office. He passed away just a few years. August 2022. Yeah, this year he passed away. I consider him a good man. Good man in the Soviet Union. He did it two things. Perestroika. You see anyone here? Any? Perestroika and glasnost. Tell me if you see here.
I think you can press Control F and search for the word.
But I'm just taking. Yeah. Glasnost. And another one, perestroika. You know, we know this already. Openness, transparent. Where? What is it? Yeah, perestroika. Political movement to reform the Communist Party, to reform the government, more openness, meaning allowing voting, more democracy. Yes, more democracy within the Communist Party. Restructuring, more democracy. And transparency, glasnost. He became the victim of him doing good. He was chased away by this other guy. That guy passed away earlier. Surprisingly, just August this year, right? He passed away. 30 August this year. He was chased away by whom? His name. He got Nobel Prize, is he? After Gorbachev. Sometimes that doesn't come out to me. Yeah, Boris Yeltsin. You know, this is the guy who chased Gorbachev out. Go out. I'm making a drama, okay? You out. So Gorbachev stepped down. Boris Yeltsin took the power, and at the same time, all this Estonia, Belarus, Ukraine, all these republics, we call it republics in the Soviet Union, one by one declare independence, including the Islamic republics of Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, also collapse of Soviet Union in 1991. No more Soviet Union in 1991, became Russia. So that signal also the end of Cold War. Cold War from 45 until 1991. But the ingredient was in the making in Romania. What was the main ingredient? People there in Eastern Europe, you know Eastern Europe now? Look at all these countries in economics writing, we call it demonstration effect. Not the one demo, you go to the street demonstration. No. Demonstration effect of the success of East Asian economies. These people in Europe, in Romania, in Russia, in Soviet Union at that time, in Bulgaria, all this, they phone later. They compare because of information. See, the technology of communication technology, information now fast coming. They compare why these Japanese people can have good meal, why Korean people can export cars and electronics, why we here in Romania, we have to make a long queue. We in Moscow, we have to make a long queue to buy bread, and so expensive, inflation. What is inflation? Money, so much money chasing after few goods available. No bread to eat. So they compare that because information coming with all these Asian countries, Japan, good economy, Korea, good economy, Taiwan, all this, no problem of eating. We here in the cold, cold, smoke coming out, not smoke, the steam coming out. Lining up in line to buy what? Bread, and no bread to eat. So that makes them angry. That's why the revolution occurred in Eastern Europe. So my story, not written in textbook, right? I make connection. The success, economic success of the so-called four tigers. Who is four tigers? After Japan, if you want to see. After Japan, four tigers are Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore. These are in the writing, okay? Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore. Success story. Miracle on the Han River. Miracle on the Han River in Korea. Miracle on the Formosa, Taiwan. Miracle here is economic miracle, not the religious miracle. Miracle economy. So success story of this so-called four tigers. Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore. After Japan already successful. Okay? Japan already. 4, 5 countries. So we here, no bread, nothing to eat. So that's why they demand democracy. They want to bring down dictators. So and that happened to spread not only, we have time, not only. And this one I watch also on TV. That's why I can tell you in June, the famous Tiananmen Square picture of this one. This is in China, June 1989. Of course, I was not in China. I was having coffee, bread with my friends. Oh, look at this. This is happening in China. We watch on TV. This became the symbol of one man students, so-called students, demanding for democracy in China. So, revolution for democracy spread from Eastern Europe, spread to China. Contagious, right? Merebak, spread, merebak. But crushed. And this is became the front page of Times magazine, front page of magazine, you know, magazine front page, the pitch, iconic picture, Tiananmen Square. I saw a banner, I will die for democracy. I said, no, I will not die for democracy. But that was shown on TV in Beijing. They're fighting for democracy. But it was crushed. This. See? Demanding for democracy. A lot of people. Tiananmen Square, the square. This is the square. Dataran Square, Dataran. But this is the iconic picture that appears on all the newspaper and magazine front page. But China, different thing. But because China, the restructuring, the reformation was started already in 1978. This is, we're talking 89, 78 by Deng Xiaoping. He started the man behind curtain. Old man, Deng Xiaoping already old man. So China used to be, there's a prime minister here, but that's the older people in the back doing the things. But now, different thing. Looks like president now, the third term, President Xi, third term, he's the man with his own power. No more the eldest behind. 2 weeks ago, if you watch, go watch. The former Prime Minister, Hu Jintao, I hope that I'm not banned in China. I don't know, they gave the reason his health was brought out from the meeting. You saw that video? So I think Xi, President Xi is the man, new politics in China. No more old people master in the back. But China was like that. Deng Xiaoping started the Reformation in 1978. And finally, 1989, the demand for democracy, that Tiananmen Square, as a result, that Reformation became in full force. So what happened? China took this socialism. Economically, China is economically socialist. Okay? When we describe a country, we can describe two things, at least. Economics and politics. China economically is a socialist country. Politically, a communist country. So, what the Chinese government do, this is socialism. Socialism by whom? Karl Marx. Or this Russian Karl Marx. Central planning, socialism. Chinese government is very practical. Anything that brings money, Chinese government and Chinese people, mainland, very practical. We will do anything that brings money. So what they do, this is socialism. Socialism, throw in the trash can. No more socialism. Embrace West market-oriented economy. So socialism, throw, but that's economic. Politically remain communist until today. Economically, China is market-based today. That started by Reformation led by Deng Xiaoping, the old man behind the curtain. 1978 already. But with 1989 demand for democracy, it triggered that reformation. So, if not because of this, maybe China still socialist and communist. But today, China is communist and market-based. And as a result, China has become the factory of the world. And yet, the world has changed. What was acceptable or unacceptable at the time now become acceptable. So, the story about Hong Kong, why Hong Kong was the producer of drama. In 1980s, Hong Kong was the center, the capital of drama. TV drama, I mean. Because Hong Kong became the back door for companies to do business with mainland China. Because at that time, before the Reformation, China was not only communist, but also socialist. So any country from the West, you understand, will not have good relation, including trade relation, including investment relation. They put blockade. You Americans cannot go trade with China directly, cannot invest in China directly. So that's why it gave the importance to the island of Hong Kong, became financial center at that time. Because of the blockade. But by 1997, Hong Kong at that time was crown colony of British. 1997, what time I have? Yeah. Okay. Let's do history today. Finish with the history, okay? So that we can start the next class. Okay, 1985, 1989, 1997. The year known already, stated. 1997, British, the UK, would return Hong Kong to China. Do you know that? Hong Kong was a colony of British colony. Do you know that? So it was already promised in 1997, 97 would return back. So at that time, so many people from Hong Kong migrated to Canada, migrated to USA, migrated to Australia, because that's the nearest. Because of fear, what happened when Hong Kong returned back to China? So, yes, Hong Kong was returned back to China, became Hong Kong SAR, Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. So, Hong Kong is China, back to China. So, after that, because of Reformation in China, China no more socialist. That's a very important point. 7 minutes. China no more socialist, very important point. Even though communist, but not any more socialist. That give the acceptance in the West. We can start now trade with China. We can start allow people to invest in China. So the role of Hong Kong disappear. Hong Kong no more back door, pintu belakang, back door to enter China. So as a result, Hong Kong, the importance of Hong Kong as financial center, and that goes together with the movie, arts and entertainment. No more Hong Kong drama today. But at the same time, Korean drama was coming out fast, and that's why Korean drama has replaced Hong Kong drama. Well, before that, Japanese drama, and then Hong Kong, and then Korean drama today. So, and finally, we have WTO 1995, World Trade Organization, not China. China was not the founding member of World Trade Organization, WTO, that replaces GATT. This we'll explain that later. And 2000, 2001, finally, China became a member of WTO. And now, all trading with her. But that relations, or direct trading, direct investment, has seen China has become factory of the world, has seen China, the size of the economy, growing, becoming the second in the world. That rings alarm to Americans. That's why we saw the picture just now. This picture. Ooh. Fighting, right? So I have no time, 5 minutes, I have to stop here. And then collapse of the Berlin Wall, Soviet Union ended 1991, no more. Germany become one. Demonstration effect, the success of East Asian economies of Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and all this, that fill in the revolution in Eastern Europe. And 1989 was very important year in the history, economic history of the world. Plaza Accord, and so we continue next week. Thank you. Assalamualaikum. So please like and subscribe to my YouTube.